Welcome to another episode of Ask a Daddy. I am Brian B. Childs, and today we're going to talk about photo shoots with young children. Now, this morning, I took my family for a family photo shoot at a park. The 11 tips that I'm going to share with you today are things that I wish I would have thought about prior to me taking these family photos. Like I said earlier, there are 11 tips. So I'm not going to spend too much time on any particular one. I'm going to pretty much cover them and keep it moving. Also, these tips are in no particular order. So without further ado, tip number 1. Talk to and prep your kids for the photo shoot. A week or two or a few days to a week prior, especially if you have young kids, right? Talk to them, let them know what's coming up. Start working with them with their smiling and, the big smile, the not so big smile, different poses, and it'll help make the day go a lot smoother. Tip number 2, make sure you have 2 sets of snacks. Now, I hate to have to say this, but again, we're just talking about getting things done, right? Have, your regular snack, pretzels, whatever, apples, have a snack, right? And then have that kind of secret snack that the kids don't know about, but it's like all the really, really, really good stuff that they really, really, really like, because you're going to need it. When you're dealing with young children, at first, they might be kind of excited to have the photo shoot, but relatively quickly, they're going to get tired and they're going to be ready to call it a wrap. It's like, okay, I'm done. If you have that secret stash of snack, and again, I hate to say this, I really do, but you can use it to your advantage. Hey, you smile, got this candy for you. So that's what the second snack is for. Tip number 3, and this probably goes without saying, I'm pretty sure you make sure you do this anyway, especially since you're dealing with young children, but make sure your child has used the restroom prior to coming to the photo shoot. Make sure it's done. Make sure you make them go. Make sure you watch them go. Make sure they really went, right? And tip number 4, I'll go down and throw that one in as well, is try to have the scheduled photo shoot area relatively close to a restroom. Because you know how kids are, right? You're going to be in the middle of a shoot or whatever. It's going pretty well, and all of a sudden, Daddy, I have to go to the restroom. I got to go to the bathroom. Oh, I can't hold it. I got to go. I can't do it, right? So you want to make sure you're somewhere close so you can go down and take them, come on back, get right back to work. Tip number 5, bring toys for the kids. Now, this is going to be good for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to give your kids they're going to be props for the photographer. So you might have just some natural shots where the child is, playing with Legos or, dolls, whatever. Those are some pretty good shots. But then there are also going to be times when it's going to be just you or you and your spouse taking photos, and the kids are going to need to be occupied doing something. So instead of having them trying to run out in the road or jump in a lake or the pond or whatever it is, have some toys for them so they can play and they can occupy themselves. Tip number 6, get your must-have shots out of the way towards the middle of your photo shoot. My photographer said it was about the first 70 frames that, the kids are, the smiles are very plastic, they're very fake. It's not genuine. And a lot of times that comes through in your photos. So you don't want to really use the very, very first ones to get those shots because you want to make sure your kids have warmed up and, they're relaxed. You don't want to use and wait to the end of the photo shoot because by that time, your kids are going to be done. They're going to be ready to go. So towards the middle of the shoot, that's when you want to get those must-have shots. Whatever must-have shots you have came up with in your head, whatever those poses are that you want to make sure you get, you want to make sure you let the photographer know what they are and then try to have those done towards the middle of the shoot. Tip number 7, plan for a break. I already mentioned earlier that, you might have the need for a restroom break, but even besides that, plan for a break. Let the kids get a little time where, again, they're going to play or maybe they want to get in the car and soak up some AC for a minute. Whatever it is, but you need to plan for a break because it has the potential to be a long photo shoot. Tip number 8, always be ready. This one goes out to you, parents, right? Mom, dad. When you're dealing with young kids, it's only so much that we can do with them, right? But for you, you always need to be ready to put that smile on or pause where you're at and what you're doing for the photographer to get a good picture. Because again, you might be doing something and she might or he might say, all right, stop right there, just stop. And you need to be ready. Be ready at all times because you never know when they're going to ask you to make the picture. Tip number 9, and this is a very important one. Make sure you choose a family-friendly, or I should say a child-friendly photographer. Your kids need to be able to warm up to them, right? So that way they can get those smiles, those genuine smiles. When the photographer wants just pictures of you, the photographer is going to have to kind of handle the kids a little bit. So they're going to have to take the picture and, kind of handle the children. So you want to make sure you have a family-friendly photographer because also, too, like I said, there's only so much you can do with making a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old pose, right? There's only so much you can do with that. So you need someone who's patient enough to work with the child and then to get the shot of the child when the child has posed or has done something cute or whatever, right? So get a family-friendly photographer. Tip number 10, plan for about 2 hours worth of time for the photo shoot. Carve out 2 hours. Again, working with children, it's just going to take time to get those shots. So allow about 2 hours or more if you really want to have a great photo shoot. And my final tip, tip number 11, make sure you relax. Relax. It has the potential to be a long photo shoot, depending on how young your children are and how many children you have. It can be somewhat stressful, especially if you're taking pictures with a purpose in mind. But relax, you know what I mean? Because again, once you get tense and you get worked up, trust me, that energy is going to transfer to your children and they will be worked up and, it'll just make it harder. So that's one, I'd say I'm guilty of, right? But yeah, once I kind of was able to bring it down a little bit and relax a little bit, things went a little bit better. So that's my final tip. I hope you found those useful. You can always come to my website. I'm going to have the tips written out, kind of, have them written out, have a nice little paragraph for each one. So just in case you missed anything or in case I left out anything, you'll be able to find all that information on my website at www.askadaddy.com. And if you like this video, if you found it useful, don't be stingy. Share it. It's not hard. Just click the button, share. Don't be stingy. You know what I mean? Anyway, thank you. And remember, being a daddy is awesome.